How do they, guys, and welcome back to Edgar TV. It's the flip side of the PDC World Darts Championship, which means as it's the biggest event on the calendar, there's going to be a lot of movement in terms of the rankings. If you are unfamiliar with the rankings, how things work, what it means for players, who's going to go up the rankings, who's going to come down them in the next year, all those prediction videos and everything coming here on Edgar TV. Make sure you go down and hit that subscribe button. But we're going to take a look now at the rankings and what that means for everyone on the flip side of the worlds. Now, you'll see 222 players in the PDC World Championships, but a lot of these, certainly down at this bottom end, what these are players that would have got in either off the back of call-ups when there's not been a full fulfilment of players on the Pro Tour, so they've been called up from Challenge Tours, either picked up money at the UK Open or qualified for a Euro Tour, sort of non-tour card holders. So all these sort of players will be disappearing off the rankings, as will all these that have got new. These are players that played in the PDC World Championships this year just gone, so £7,500 for those. We will have some players that you'll recognise in here who are on 2-year tour cards, who won their tour card this year, such as Callum Goffin, Robbie Knops, Ronnie Hybrex. These are players who will stay on the rankings and will actually move up because the players above them will be coming out. However, players such as Fallon Sherrick, she'll be disappearing from the rankings because she didn't reach the top 64. The system is simple. You make the top 64, you keep your card, unless you've got a 2-year card because you won it at Q School. So there'll be lots of people disappearing from here. You'll see lots of these players as well will be who have lost tour cards. If you do want to check that out, I do have a video in my video diary of all the players, but to give you an idea, just outside the 64 positions here, you've got people like Rusty Jake, Jeff Smith, John O'Shea, Richie Burnett, Scott Waits, Darius Labanauskas, all going to be losing their tour cards because the cut-off point is right here. 64th position, which currently is occupied by Ian White. 63rd position occupied by Mervyn King. So two real big sort of stalwarts of the game, people that have been around the sport for many years, currently in that potential drop off from the Pro Tour. I will update obviously in a prediction video who's defending what, because actually I don't think it's as bad as it looks on initial inspection for those. Florian Hempel had a good run at the World Championship. That managed to keep him in position for a PDC Tour card. Mickey Mansell moves up 8 positions. Cameron Menzies, second round for him, £15,000 won at the World Championships, moves him up 9 places above Mensah Suljovic, who continues that slide. Now, for me, Mensah Suljovic is about to enter his last year as a professional tour card holder. I don't think that Mensah Suljovic is going to be able to survive another year on the tour. Certainly doesn't do enough of the events. He's in none of the TV majors as it goes, and he's just defending and dropping money all the time off the rankings. So I think this is going to be the last year for Suljovic. Moving further up the rankings, we know it's going to be the last year for Steve Beaton. He said that this is going to be his sort of retirement year. Adrian Lewis down in 52 now. Again, we don't know what's going to happen with Adrian Lewis. And again, this feels like a bit of a changing of the guard site situation, because we've heard from Vincent van der Voort, who suggested that he's going to stop playing on the PDC Pro Tour maybe in another year. We've heard the same from Beaton. We don't know what to expect from Lewis. We've got King and White dropping down towards that 64 position. Mensah Suljovic, we don't know what's happening with him. So we could be losing maybe 5 or 6 very familiar faces come 2025, certainly in regards to PDC darts. Matt Campbell, Jermaine Watamena and Ricky Evans all taking good jumps up in the rankings. Gian van Veen, someone who's going to be defending nothing, jumps up to 43. He's got another year because he's only played 1 year on the tour so far. So 43rd in the rankings, extraordinary good. With another year still to go, we expect him to be pushing the top 32. Somewhere where Alan Suter was not too long ago, but now down in number 45, drops 11 positions and is defending prize money over the next year. Now, this is something that a player like Josh Rock has got to experience as well. Until now, a player like Josh Rock, everything he's won has just gone on his rankings. But if you're unfamiliar with the rankings, how it works is works on a 2-year system. So that means everything you earn in 2 years' time, you've got to defend it. So if you win £1,000 today, January the 3rd, In 2 years' time, January the 3rd, 2026, that money will come off your rankings. So if you go to an event and win £500 on January the 3rd, 2026, you actually lose £500 on your rankings. So a few players are going to have to deal with that added pressure moving forward into the coming year. Luke Woodhouse drops 5 places despite being in the World Championships. Callum Ridds coming outside the top 32 now, which when we look at the top 32, it does have benefits, big benefits. That's somewhere where when we look at this lineup, we can see that some players are destined to end up. I think Jim Williams is another one that's going to be going towards the top 32. Now, the top 32 means you are guaranteed a place at the World Championships. You will come in at round 2, which is a guaranteed £15,000 and means you do not have to play an international qualifier. The other bonus is you do not have to play another top 32 player in the world. You play either the Pro Tour qualifier or the international qualifier. So a good opportunity or a stronger opportunity in order to get the £25,000. The other thing it does is it gives you a seeding to the 4th round of the UK Open. More perks throughout the staircasing system as we go through it. Luke Littler, despite just having 2 events on his ranking, that being the UK Open and this year's World Championship, reaching the final of this, £200,000 moves him into the top 32, jumping 133 places. That means he'll be seeded for next year's World Championship. He gets a 1-year tour card rather than the 2-year he got on the development tour, but it's still technically a 2-year because he's not going to drop off the tour, so it's just the wording of it that's slightly different. He will be seeded for the UK Open, but he can no longer play the PDC Development Tour because he's now in the top 32 of the world, which is going to please a lot of the players that are under the age of 23. Scott Williams' heroic run to the semi-finals gives him £100,000. He goes up 22 places into the top 32. Same story for him. Gary Anderson, despite being the statistically best player in the world over the last 12 months, has been failing to put it in terms of results on the Big T events. He drops down 6 places after defending sizable prize money from a couple of years ago and drops to 27, but I think he's going to keep around that position. If not, he's going to start climbing soon. Gary Anderson's got to win something soon, hasn't he? It's due. It's due. Darryl Gurney going up just the 1 spot. Best win rate he's had since he was winning major titles. If he keeps that going next year, I expect to see him continue to climb up the rankings. Josh Rock moves closer to the top 16. He's not defending money at events such as the match play next year, so big opportunity there for him to pick up some sizable prize money and move a bit closer to the top 16. Top 16, dropouts. We saw Ryan Searle come out of there recently. He hasn't gone back in. Ross Smith has dropped out of the top 16 now at the expense of Stephen Bunting. And James Wade drops 6 places to once again be outside the top 16 following his early exit at the World Championship. Top 16 does have perks and benefits, as we have spoke about before. Now, those perks and benefits in regards to the top 16 players, they come in the form of the World Match Play and the Grand Prix as guarantees. It also means you are seeded for the World Match Play, which means again you're not going to play one of the top 16 players in the world. You play someone off the 1-year order of merit, but only the top 8 are seeded for the Grand Prix, but guarantees you those big TV events. These are the players that are guaranteed those at the moment. Chris Dobie, long overdue, now inside the top 16. I think he's going to stay there for a while. Dimitri Vandenberg moves up a place, but I think he's going to struggle over the next year as Dirk van Dijvenbode, who gets closer and closer to that 16 cut-off now, suffering with that long-standing injury. Peter Wright drops down 4 places, down to 8. That moves him out of the world's top 4. Now that has significant reasons behind it as well. Peter Wright coming out the top 4 means he is not guaranteed a place in the Premier League. The top 4 places are guaranteed Premier League spots, so you can see how it's sort of staircases in the PDC system, but the top 8 does mean he would be seeded for the World Grand Prix. Only 8 seeds for that event, the double start, double finish event that takes place in Leicester. Rob Cross moves up 2 places, up to world number 6. Nathan Aspinall into the top 4. That guarantees him his Premier League spot, the World Match Play champion. Michael Smith drops down a couple of places. Michael van Gerwen just ahead of him in terms of the order of merit, but Luke Humphries pulling away now at the top of the tree. Luke Humphries, the new world #1. So a couple of big movers, most notably Luke Littler and Scott Williams. There's going to be lots of movers over the next couple of months as well, and those key areas 64, 32, 16. We'll be keeping an eye on those all year long, talking you through it. So if you need that little bit of extra sort of how on earth does this work, I've got your back here on Edgar TV. Make sure you subscribe. If you enjoyed the content, please do hit a like, and I'll see you very soon for plenty more Edgar TV.